feel like a teddy bear with these buns. These buns! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming this grungy glam look for you. This was highly requested after I posted on my Instagram. You guys loved it, so obviously I was going to create it for you. Super dark, super grungy. I am right back to my roots with this look. Now, it is a lot of makeup. You can use less if you want. You don't have to go as dark. You don't have to go as much. You do whatever you want. I'm just going to show you how you can get it really dark if you do want it super dark, which you should. I leave all product details down below so you can go look at them if there's anything in particular that you want. So yes, I'm just going to jump right on in and I will see you at the end. So first off, I'm just taking number 300 from the What A Spice collection. It's a gorgeous mustard brown, and I'm taking that on my big fluffy xoxo blending brush. For this look, I'm actually working from the bottom up. I don't know if this makes any sense, but it does to me. Just seeing how dark it is on the bottom gives me perspective of how dark I want it on top. If that makes sense. I don't know. So these eyeshadows are insanely pigmented, which is great obviously, but they can't really act as transition shades, so I always go in with like a pressed powder or as a blush just to blend them out. Here I'm using number 405 pressed powder from Inglot just to blend the very edges of it. The second shade then is number 296. It's this hot fiery red. I am obsessed with it. I'm taking this on my blank Canvas E26 brush. So this brush is a little bit smaller. You know what I'm saying, the darker the colour, the smaller the brush, the closer to the lash line, yada yada yada. Another thing I will say about these eyeshadows is that they are a little bit darker than what they appear in the pan. Once you put them on, they go a little bit darker. So this looks like a crazy bright red, but whenever you put it on, it's just red. I'm just applying some 77 gel liner to my waterline then. This is waterproof, so it's literally not going to budge throughout the day. I apply this into my bottom lash line as well. This is just going to help the black eyeshadow stick to it a little bit better. It's going to give it a dark base and it's going to make it super smoky. To blend out that gel liner then, I just start packing some black eyeshadow on top. This is Corrupt by Makeup Geek, and I'm just using a small 20p brush from Inglot. So I pack this on the gel liner before it dries, so the gel liner obviously is still wet. This just means that it attaches to the eyeshadow better and it's a lot more intense. I then smoke this out then using the Buff and Blend brush. It is the BB02, so it's like a really small bullet brush, but it's still really soft. I am obsessed with it, especially for looks like this. So I'm using 297 and 296. No. 297 and 301, which is a dark purple and then a dark red. I'm just using that to smoke out the black and to help blend it into the bright red. Then just using whatever was left on my previous brushes, I'm just going to blend that out further. Moving on to the top then, I'm just going to repeat the exact same steps. So going in with number 300 on my xoxo brush, I'm working this into the outer corner first using circular motions, and then using whatever's left on my brush to work up into the crease using window wiper motions. Again, because these eyeshadows are so pigmented, it does take a while to work them in, but the colour payoff is amazing. You can make it look like you're wearing 3 eyeshadows by just wearing one. Going in with the red once again on my E26 brush, I'm just working that into the outer corner, keeping it a little bit closer to the lash line. I press the product on first just to get a nice colour build up, and then I very softly blend the edges just to diffuse them nicely. I then go in and blend just the very edges of that using whatever's left on my previous brush. So every time I go onto a step, I repeat the last step when I'm blending it out, if that makes sense. I then go in with number 308, so the deep red, just to deepen the outer corners that little bit more. Because I am using a dark glitter on the lid, I'm bringing these dark colours up into the crease and towards the inner corner also, just so the glitter has something to blend out into. Again, using the Buff and Blend BB02 bullet brush, I'm taking the dark purple and just buffing that into the outer lash line, and whatever's left on the brush I just lightly dust up into the crease also. Using whatever's left on my last brush just to buff out the very edges. Moving on to liner then, I'm of course using the 77 gel liner on my small 32T brush. This is my favourite liner brush, my ride or die. me loves. So I start off at the outer corner, keeping it thick enough, and then I taper it in towards the inner corner about halfway across the eye. Practice makes perfect with liner. Honestly, just keep playing around with it and you'll find a shape that you like and that suits your eye. It's a pain in the ass, but we all know the struggle and we all get over it eventually. To get that perfect blend between your liner and your eyeshadow, what I do is I take a small 20p brush, I dampen it slightly in some Duraline, and I just press it on top of the liner. As you can see, it's kind of dispersing it a little bit, it's diluting it so that it's not as intense. It's going to make your black eyeshadow set over it a lot darker and makes it a lot easier to blend to. This honestly is one of my favorite things to do when it comes to liner. I'm just blending that out using a tiny amount of the dark brown from the What A Spice collection, which is number 304, just the very edges of it. It's really important to connect the darkness on the top and the bottom as I'm doing here using this brush. It just makes your look so much more smokier and just more together. And what I do is I pack on the black to that outer corner. I don't bring it up too far. I bring it up to the crease, just not into the crease. I find that can look very mucky. So I blend it up to the crease and then use the dark brown just to blend the very edges of it. Going in with my other colors and other brushes again, just to make sure that it's nicely diffused. For my inner corner highlight, I'm just using 395 eyeshadow from Inglot. It's a really nice white champagne shade, very bright. This is going to help blend out the pigment just so it doesn't look really chunky on the inner corner. Down my pigment, I'm again using Duraline on my small 20p brush. I'm just placing that from the inner corner outwards using dabbing motions. I'm only using the tiniest amount as well. I feel like that's a mistake a lot of people use or do, is that they use far too much Duraline. You only need half a drop per eye. So I press that on top of the lid, and then I'm just going to press my pigment on top of that. Pigment I'm using today is number 116, so it's a gorgeous dark chocolatey brown, but it has gold and pinky and reddy reflex. It's one of my favorites. So I'm pressing the pigment on top. This is going to give a more sparkly effect. If I wanted it to be more metallic, I would rub it on. Just make sure to kind of lightly blend over the edges. You just don't want a harsh line between your pigment and your eyeshadows. Stick on some mascara and lashes and you are good to go. I'm of course wearing Buff and Blend Bad Attitude. You can use my discount code below. This helps your blending. So that there is the finished look for you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up down below, and don't forget to comment what you want to see next down below. You can follow me on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of that is KeilidhMua. Snapchat is where I kind of talk to you a lot more, and it's where I kind of take your requests as well for YouTube. So if you do have any requests, make sure to either comment down below or I'll send them to me on Snapchat. So that's it. That's all I got. I think that's everything I had to tell you. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, make sure to go do that, because I'm planning on doing a lot more YouTube videos in the new year 2017. It's going to be the year of YouTube for Keilidh. Thank you so much for watching again. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Bye. Ow!